guys 2 minutes, 2 minute warning.
Oh, you think I'll take my hat off?
No.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Manatee County Media Briefing. Today we have County Administrator Dr. Scott Hopes, who's going to give you a brief COVID update. We also have Manatee County Public Safety Director Jacob Sauer, who's going to give you all the latest on Tropical Storm Fred. And also joining us today is Commissioner Misty Servia and Commissioner Reggie Bellamy. So right now I'll go ahead and turn it over to County Administrator Hopes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe, and thank you all for being with us this afternoon. I know you have a lot of questions. As you know, last night the decision was made to close the libraries in Manatee County. This past week, we have had an outbreak in our library system, initially focused on the Central Library, which is our main library downtown, where we had 6 positive cases, impacting a number of other contacts for a total of 23 individuals affected. We determined, with the help of our contact tracers, which are now in our building from the health department, they began on Monday, and the epidemiologist, that the source may have been an IT worker in neighborhood services, which goes to all of our libraries. So given the extent of the number of employees affected in the Central Library, in order to ensure that our libraries were not going to be a source of COVID infections to the public, those libraries will be closed for approximately 10 days, and allowing us to determine that we have cleared the outbreak in the library system. In addition to that, of greater concern, in the past week, we've had a total of 23 positive cases in Manatee County government, with 47 known exposures, and 50% of the cases we've seen among Manatee County employees this week were fully vaccinated. And so, as I mentioned, we have taken an aggressive approach to ensure that we are protecting the public as well as protecting our employees from what appears to be a growing number of cases in Manatee County among fully vaccinated individuals. With that, I'll take any questions. A majority of the cases are not. We have seen a few cases on floors where we had not seen cases before. We've got a case on the 5th floor We had an additional case on the 9th floor, but a majority of these cases are outside of the administration building. As I mentioned, the central library. We have had an extensive outbreak in utilities, which are the folks that ensure that you have drinking water, solid waste pickup, wastewater, etc. So we are very concerned that we have to mitigate any spread, any additional spread among our employees so that we can be able to ensure that you get the services that we all depend on.
Library cases, is that something the public has to be concerned about?
We think that by closing the downtown library, I think we closed that Tuesday, and then by closing the other libraries, when we were aware that we had employees that were moving from library to library, that we've reduced that. The health department contact tracers are working through ways to identify individuals that may have visited, especially the central library, where we know we have the cases. My suggestion would be if any member of the public spent time in the downtown library and is concerned, feel free to contact the health department and provide your name, and they can work with the contact tracers can work with those individuals.
Can you speak about the severity of the cases? Is there any additional death concerns? Is there anybody hospitalized?
I will tell you that unfortunately we will be burying another employee this weekend, a member from our utilities department team.
That's the fourth employee you've had?
No, that's the third that the third that we're aware of.
It's the one
From a little over a week ago. Yeah.
What is the total number of county employees that have tested positive?
Pardon me?
The number of total county employees that have tested positive?
Total since May 3rd, we had 23 this week. We are probably, the count on the 10th was 77, so we're probably up to about 85 right now. But as I mentioned, the concern are the number of cases we've seen in the past 2 weeks. 45% of the cases last week were in individuals that were fully vaccinated, and 50% of our employee cases this week were known to be fully vaccinated.
Are you considering any changes in terms of requiring masking and vaccination from employees?
We continue to encourage our employees to get vaccinated. I will tell you that in accordance with CDC guidelines for communities like ours with very large spread, that the signs in the elevators, we continue to recommend that if you were unvaccinated to wear masks. Now the guidance, given the fact that in the building we do have so many cases that were vaccinated, and the CDC guidelines recommend, and that's what we were doing, just recommending that regardless of your vaccination status, you wear an N95 or KN95 mask in the building, and we provide those masks for you.
So 50% of the people, did they have any kind of deficiencies or?
No.
No, so they were just,
And all ages.
how concerning is that to you?
It's concerning. As you know, the Delta variant is the dominant variant now, and it won't be the last variant. But the mere fact that we have seen over the course of 4 to 5 weeks an increase in the percentage of employee cases that are among fully vaccinated. In addition to that, the recommendation for employees that are vaccinated, that if there's a known exposure and you're asymptomatic, the recommendation in the new guidelines are that you wear a mask for 14 days, basically through that incubation period. Many studies have come out recently that show that if you're exposed, you can be infected if you're vaccinated, be asymptomatic, and have as much virus in your nasopharyngeal passages, if not more virus than those that are unvaccinated.
Dr. Hopes, as an epidemiologist yourself, what changes would you like to see in policies and procedures within county government to help protect the county staff?
Well, I think we're doing it. I mean, it's we're encouraging vaccinations. As you know, they have now approved boosters for those individuals that are immunocompromised. I do expect booster shots to be recommended in the next few weeks for everyone. I will tell you, we've begun seeing cases even in our EMS department of individuals, paramedics that were vaccinated in early January who are contracting COVID while being fully vaccinated or assumed to be fully vaccinated. The ones that we know about are symptomatic, and they are pretty severe. Doesn't appear to be the same level of hospitalizations we were seeing earlier on, but these individuals are homesick for a week or two before they begin to recover in vaccinated individuals. All right, with that, I will turn it over to Director Sauer to update you on the activities the county is performing around the anticipation of Tropical Storm Fred.
Thank you, Administrator Dr. Hopes. I'm Jake Sauer, Director of Public Safety for Manatee County Government. Just a quick, brief overview on Tropical Depression Fred. I think it will probably become a tropical storm again once it moves north from Cuba. Some good news with our latest conversations with the National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service. They have shifted the track a little farther west, away from us. So don't be surprised if you don't see tropical storm warnings or watches. And that's simply because as it continues to track to the west of us, we don't expect that the wind field will be enough to generate those types of warnings in our area. However, I will say that as the storm moves up through the Gulf, as any Floridian knows that's spent any time here, once it's in the Gulf, things can happen. We don't expect it to strengthen too much, but some strengthening should be expected to occur as it continues to move north. And unfortunately, we'll be on the dirty side of that storm, as we say. And this area, as you know, has already been well saturated with rain in our summer rainy season, and we can expect 2 to 5 inches of further rain from that storm. So I encourage residents to take actions to protect their home. Those residents know that the areas that they live in, where it becomes flooded, normally flood-prone areas will again become flooded. And I'll talk to you in just a second about where we have our sandbag distributions as well. So to date, the county has taken a number of steps to ensure that residents are prepared for impacts for Tropical Depression or Tropical Storm Fred. And a total of 40 pallets of sandbags are free for public. And they are drop-off locations around the county, including Manatee Oaks, Shady Brook Trailer Estates, and Palmetto Youth Center, and along our beaches along Anna Maria Island. The City of Braden also has sandbags available at their Public Works Annex through 5 p.m. today, and the Emergency Operations Center will not activate at this time to a heightened alert. We will continue to monitor it through the weekend to ensure that all of our partners have any resources they could request as the storm passes through us. We will continue our calls with the National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center, as well as Florida Department of Emergency Management throughout the weekend to anticipate any unmet needs that we might have as the storm continues. And in closing, I would like to take time to remind our residents to secure items outside of your home that could become projectiles in the wind. And we're now in the peak of hurricane season. And although we won't be issuing evacuations for this storm, I encourage all residents to know their evacuation zones, and you could find that out at mymanatee.org/Manatee Ready. And as I said earlier, with the expected heavy rainfall, please do not drive through roads that are flooded and turn around and don't drown. That's the saying that we use with those types of situations. And if you're concerned about flooding or live in a flood-prone area, now is the time to make the plans to stay with friends or family outside of that area as the storm passes through. Make sure you have plans in case of power outages, as well as trees that are already in grounds that are saturated could topple over as the storm passes through. And remember, COVID-19 is still prevalent, as Dr. Hope said, in our community, so please keep this in mind while preparing for the storm, or if you're going to other areas to get out of flood-prone areas. And with that, I can take any questions about the storm you might have. Anybody? Just a couple of things. We do have COVID-19 testing at the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Palmetto. That runs 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. However, as conditions deteriorate with the storm, we can anticipate they might close early Saturday and be closed on Sunday as well. And we'll try and push that information out as soon as we get it.
When do you anticipate the part of the storm being?
We're looking at around Saturday night. We could start seeing some outer bands Saturday afternoon, but Saturday overnight, and then clearing out Sunday morning. Okay, if there's no... Okay, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Servia for a few questions.
Hi, good afternoon, and I just want to take this opportunity to encourage everyone who has not been vaccinated to get a vaccine. And if anyone has a problem getting a vaccine, all they have to do is dial 311 and we will help you make arrangements to get vaccinated. When you are indoors, please wear a mask, no matter your vaccine status, to help protect others and protect yourself too. Thank you.
All right, at this time, the press briefing has concluded. We don't have another scheduled press briefing at this moment, but we will let you guys know as soon as one is available. So thank you very much.